Hello, beautiful creatures of the world, and welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. It's a beautiful day in the far north of Maine, up along the Canadian border, in the crown of Maine, and I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are as well. We had rain all last night, and then the sun came out this morning, and it got really humid, and I was like, yeah, we're going to have a great day, and then the cloud cover came, and it got clammy and cold, so it's sweatshirt on, sweatshirt off weather here. It's spring in Aroostook County. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, or Pandora, welcome to my variety show. Maybe I just popped into your playlist. Maybe you are subscribed to my podcast. Please subscribe to my podcast. Give me a 5-star rating on the audio-only platforms. If you're on the video platforms, welcome. If you are a subscriber to my channel, you guys are the real MVPs of this channel, and y'all know it. I appreciate you so much for putting up with my shenanigans during the week. I'm trying to wave to people that go by because they're waving to me. They know I'm podcasting today. We have to podcast with the window open in the studio. And by studio, I mean the small corner of my kitchen that I'm relegated to do my podcasting and run my small fiber business out of. Because as you guys know, I'm a homesteader. I cook 365 days a year on my 1927 wood cook stove, my home comfort. And I was doing computery things and setting things up, and I smoked the whole house out. Weren't paying attention. It happens every now and again, so we have to podcast with the window open just to get things flowing again, the good airflow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are on Instagram or on the other video platform, the Freedom platform, that starts with an R, rhymes with crumble. Not allowed to say it here. It'll plummet me to the bottom of the algorithm. I am all one word, Coffee with Kerri-Lynn, no hyphen on those platforms. And if you are on X or Truth, I tell the truth. Join me at Coffee with Kerri. I'm going to be dumped to the bottom of the algorithm because of that too. I am off of Facebook. I'm just barely hanging on to the Instagram thing, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm off of Facebook for a while. It's not working for me. Rules and regulations and all. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, we're running the clock out because today we are going to talk about Maine's new changes to our personal self-defense weaponry laws, LD 2238. So stick around, but we got to run the clock out. We took the adventure van this weekend on Saturday for her first run to the grocery store. We went from the house to the next town over. We put the first 70 miles on the brand new engine. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, if you've been with my channel for a while, you will know that my husband and I own a 1981 Chevy step van, a P20, and we go on adventures with the adventure van. We decided she couldn't get up the hill by the farm this summer. So we decided she needed an engine overhaul. And y'all know how that works. You start one project and you got to just keep on going. Well, we ended up with a short series called Backyard Mechanics. The mechanics are officially all done. We are going to be doing the soundproofing, and we're going to be doing the van life build out. So that's still coming on Backyard Mechanics. I'm going to put up a playlist, all the Backyard Mechanics shorts, and we're going to add the little adventure van shorts where we're traveling around, and we show you some cool places around Aroostook County and what our life looks like up here in the county. We're not going to stray too far from home for the first 500 miles. Anyways, as you all know, if you're into mechanics and all, that one thing leads to the next thing leads to the next thing, and I am a sucker for fiber, and I am a sucker for auto pots and office supplies. So those are my three main weaknesses. Boy, that carburetor looks nice. I'd rather have that one than this one, you know. I like auto pot stores. I like Edelbrock. I'm an Edelbrock girl. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. Anyways, she's rebuilt every mechanical part in her. It went from let's just rebuild the engine to let's just do everything brand new. Only the transmission is original now. Absolutely crazy, huh? Well, even that's not original. The former owner put in a brand new transmission, so we don't need to do that. Yay. But we're sticking close to home in case, you know, when you're breaking the engines in, and we just kind of want to be close to home in case Mark has to come pick us up on the side of the road. If you're in Presque Isle or in Caribou and you need a towing service, call Mark's Towing. Give him a free plug. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, we officially ran out the clock. Let's talk about LD 2238, the changes to the Maine state gun law. Don't get crazy, you two. I'm talking about the gun laws. Now, if you have not been living under a rock, you will know that we had a mass casualty incident in Lewiston, and that has sparked the changes to our gun laws. Do I think we need changes to the gun laws? Do I think we need any additions? Absolutely not. We need some subtractions. There was a time within my lifetime in this country where we didn't have all these dang laws, and it was not the Wild West. People did not solve their problems in a specific way that injured, maimed, or harmed other people. People take their self-defense weaponry tool safety very, very seriously when they own them. I live in the reddest part of the state, Aroostook County. We actually have 2A sanctuary cities here in the county. Everything south of us is Moonbat Nation. They're very liberal. They're very woke. They're just an extension of Massachusetts. We call them Northern Mass. And what needs to be discussed is the thing nobody wants discussed. The woke crowd doesn't want to discuss it. The liberal crowd doesn't want to discuss it. When you slightly infringe, creep onto anybody's constitutional rights, and freedom of speech comes to mind. Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, comes to mind. When you start creeping and encroaching on this stuff, you're not doing yourself or anybody else a service. You are doing everybody a disservice because you're looking in the wrong direction, and y'all don't want to talk about the fact that we don't need any more laws about weaponry. What we need in the state of Maine, listen up, y'all woke people down in northern Massachusetts. You need better health care laws, specifically for mental health care. You need better health care for your drug recovery services as well. We are inadequate in the mental health care realm, okay? That's what the problem is. But nobody wants to address that. The woke crowd does not want to address, the liberals, they don't want to address it. It's easier to tack on another hurdle around the gun situation than it is to actually admit that our healthcare system is inadequate in the state of Maine. Why do I say this? The mass casualty shooter in Lewiston was in a mental health crisis. He just happened to own self-defense weaponry tools. When he was at boot camp, his fellow reservists reported him to the infirmary. He was ignored. It was discarded. He knew he needed mental help when he was home in the state of Maine. He was discarded. We had a horrifying incident in Lewiston because this man was ignored by our health care system. But nobody wants to talk about that because now you're treading into the other things that are happening medically to children. And no moonbats, the liberals and the woke crowd don't want to start discussing mental health care. That's where it's at. It is not at adding more hurdles for the mentally stable. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, I have to applaud the 3 Democrats in the state Senate for voting against LD 2238. You guys deserve some thumbs up for that. And of course, our state rep, Tim Jarrett, he voted against it. He only lives 7 doors down, so I don't have to go knocking on his door asking for an explanation. Like I said, I live in the reddest part of the state. And people that own weaponry do not disregard or disrespect the safety. Now, what is happening because of LD 2238 is the Kittery Trading Post is now relocating to New Hampshire. And the state of Maine is going to lose an estimated $4 million in gun sales taxes. Way to go! The Sportsmans Alliance is also going to sue Maine. And it is all over the new 72-hour waiting period that will be enacted. Now, our changes to our gun laws are going into effect at the end of July 2024, just so that you know, it's not retroactive, it's not immediate. And what some of the changes are is the new law signed in by the governor, the Moonbat Janet Mills, the queen of the queen of Moonbat land, does not, and I repeat, it does not require universal background checks, but it does require background checks on people who advertise a gun for sale on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or elsewhere. Sales would be required to be checked against the National Instant Criminal Background Check System as required for commercial sales at federally licensed firearms dealers. One thing that is going to remain intact is the transfer of your personal weaponry to a family member, or you can loan it to a friend. You can still do that stuff. You'll have a camping party, hunting party, you go to camp. You can still lend the gun, and you can actually transfer ownership of your weapons to a family member. That's remaining intact. The other part of the law that is going to be affected is how our yellow, we don't have a red flag, we have a yellow flag law. Shouldn't have any flag law, but Susan Collins thought she was doing everybody a great prize. We were supposed to have a red flag law, and she put her 2 cents in. She's a rhino. Anywho, she got the state legislature to take the red flag law that they wanted a few years ago and move it down to a yellow flag law. Thanks, I guess. Anyways, now what happens is the police are allowed to assess an individual, and they are allowed to take you into protective custody for a mental health evaluation, and then in a hold. And then they are allowed to get a hearing in front of a judge to remove guns from someone in a psychiatric crisis. That's our yellow flag laws. And they've been abused in many, many instances. From jealous girlfriends, and just as we predicted they would be. You lived with a guy for 10 years, and you broke up, you got a new girlfriend, and all of a sudden you're afraid of him, and he owns guns, and now the yellow flag law are in effect. We knew that was going to happen, and it did, as just like clockwork. So what the new law is going to do is allow the police to simply just go to the judge. There's going to be no need to take you into custody. No need to put you in the ER to get your mental health evaluation. They can just go straight to the judge. This is because the deputy that went to the Lewiston gunman's home and knocked on the door for the required face-to-face that's necessary under our current yellow flag laws. Well, the gunman didn't answer the door. So they have removed that whole face-to-face part. Personally, I never liked the part of the yellow flag law anyways, where the police became basically your sole judge and jury as to your mental state. They're not doctors. They're not social workers. You may be a little argumentative and find yourself in the ER for mental health eval. Because they're not doctors. They're not psychiatrists. And I always had a problem with the yellow flag law, and I will continue to have a problem with the yellow flag law. There used to be a time in this country, ladies and gentlemen, where all of these laws were unnecessary. It weren't the Wild West. People didn't settle their problems in such a way where people got hurt with other people's self-defense weapons. It never existed since the Wild West. And I find these laws absolutely mind-boggling. We got traffic. Absolutely mind-boggling, ridiculous. Because everybody wants, whether it's at a federal level, a state level, or a local level, y'all want everybody else to think for you. You want to be told what to do. You want to have rigid rules and guidelines. Do not cross the line. And you want other people to make the rules for you. And it just absolutely drives me crazy that people do not think for themselves anymore. People cannot keep their emotions under control. And that is one of the big reasons why we need a strong mental health system in the state of Maine. Because people are not teaching children to keep their emotions in check. Child doesn't want to do something. Child is allowed to have a meltdown. Child is allowed to have no consequences. Now the child is an adult. Now the child is an adult and does not have any control over their emotional well-being. It's absolutely hideous and disgusting. So now, child that had no boundaries, child that was never taught that it is okay to have a bad feeling, that doesn't mean you make everybody else miserable in the world. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be angry. Children that are not taught how to constructively release the negative feelings turn into adults that do not know how to constructively release their anxieties and their negative emotional feelings. They project nonsense out into the world. They project the violence out into the world. It starts at home and it starts from birth. You need to teach your children it's okay to do this. It's not okay to do that. Set some boundaries for your kids and teach them to be mentally fit. And that is a component that is completely lost. Instead, we beef up the gun law legislation, and it's just absolutely unnecessary because the bottom cause, the root cause of all the vileness that goes on in the world, the violence starts with mental health. There's something wrong in the brain. Unfortunately, some people's brains attached to their fingers are attached to a weapon. Some, very few. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, thank you today for listening to me rant about our new state gun laws, LD 2238. And remember to live your life to the fullest. Carpe diem, because no one promised you a tomorrow.